Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show, and I am amped up for this. Not for this one,
Wow, okay.
but for that one!
So it's very rare because this is episode 15 whatever.
1583.
1583. We've done this I've done this show 1583 times now.
Which is stupid.
I'm a sick man.
You are.
But it's very rare. There's nothing new under the sun. Like, we can't do anything that we've never done before at this point. Everything's just kind of a repeat. Please keep watching and listening.
Except this.
But we have never, on this program, had this person on this program. Is that correct?
It's correct.
This is your first appearance. Like, you've been in, like, behind-the-scenes stuff videos on...
I've never sat in this chair
You
under
never-
these lights.
Right.
With you two wahoos.
This is William Wilkerson.
That's a streak you should have continued.
It is.
This
I'm
is William
regretting this
Wilkerson,
already.
who has, I think, gone the longest working here without appearing on this program.
There's a reason for that.
3.5 years.
Yeah.
You've been here 3.5 years. Were you here before or after Pickle got here?
Slightly before.
You
Full
predate
time.
Pickle.
I predate
Yeah,
AP.
full time he does, because I was hired on in like a part-time thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were here like fundamentally like to really back up and give you the full picture. When Max Thompson left, we were like, let's take his job. He was doing way too much. Let's divide it into two people who are doing way too much. And
It's
it's
like,
one
what
and
changed?
2. Yeah.
This is true.
And you guys, but you've been very camera shy.
As I am.
You're our digital director. You run the
Yeah.
website.
I run the website, run social media, and I just like to stay behind the scenes and let you guys take all of this.
But there's a very special reason that you're on today.
What is that?
And that is today's May 2nd.
Yeah.
And that means it's somebody's birthday.
It's your birthday!
It's my birthday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. I am
29.
I'm 2 years away from being 40 years old, and it is freaking me the heck out.
Oh,
man.
over the hill. Man, you thought we
Boy.
went big today. You wait for 2 more years, Willie.
Yeah. Here's the good news. I will make you this promise. You do not have to be on the show on your 39th birthday.
What about my 40th?
Oh, man, we're going
Buddy,
all out.
you better believe
You're hosting the show on your 40th
we're going to teach you to run the board for your 40th
Fair.
birthday.
That's fair.
That's
fair.
Okay, so you've been the mysterious. You really are the mysterious Oz of Dave Campbell's Texas
I am.
football. Nobody sees you, and yet you're in charge of all the social media.
Like all of our public face
Right,
of the company.
right, exactly. And so this is an opportunity for you to get some things off your chest. Do you have anything you would like to say to our esteemed viewers, listeners, social media commenters, things like that?
I don't know how you put up with this one
Touche.
ever.
They've heard that.
I mean, yes, but it should be said
So
again.
obvious.
It should be said again.
Sometimes you guys.
Yes, please be nice to Pickle. She puts up with way too much of this guy's stuff.
Thank you.
So
This is not going how I thought.
yes,
it would.
this is how
is
it's
how
it's
it's
I'm
going.
not happy about
This is Team Up on Tepper. So this is Team Up on Tepper Tuesdays. We'll be
Yes!
next
Wait.
week.
Yes!
Okay. All right.
Willie.
All right. I have a question. Will you be on the show every Tuesday if it's Team Up on Tepper Tuesday?
100%. I mean,
Let's go.
if that's what it takes,
Start
yes,
booking shows
without
now.
question. Without question.
Do you think people should be nicer in our social media comments?
To Pickle, yes, 100%. To
No, I
you,
just mean
absolutely
generally
not.
speaking. I just
No,
mean like,
in general, no. You guys are fantastic. Thank you for joining the show every day. You make this thing tick. So
what is your favorite of our social media platforms to interact on?
ooh, they're all dangerous.
That's a good word.
So we had this app. We have this
What?
app. And
This is the first time.
yeah, we
hearing
went
of
through
this.
some things with the app a couple years ago.
Buddy. Okay. Let me tell you
So-
guys. So a couple of years ago, when the app was riding the struggle bus, we got it fixed now. The man on the wall between
Boy.
your comments and me was William Wilkerson.
Yeah.
And
Beaten and abused. Man.
It was not fun.
it was a tough couple months.
It was tough. It was tough. It was like going home and watching Old Yeller every day. I was just wanting to cry like every day.
Maybe they won't shoot her this time.
Right.
I don't know.
But they did. Look, we deserved every bit of flack
we
got.
I think we've
100%.
owned up to that.
Yes.
Well, we've owned up to that.
Very much looking forward to this season. The app is rocking. Not to get on that tangent, but it is. So I would say, to answer your question, I mean, Twitter is just it's the wild, wild west.
It really is.
So
You're not blue. You are on Twitter, but you're not blue checked.
this is correct.
No.
Never
You were
was.
verified. And yet you were a very powerful person in media before you came and slummed it with us.
Oh, I
Correct.
don't know.
He was
about
a
that.
sports editor at the Forest Star Telegram.
I don't know about that. I've been very fortunate to land at some good spots, but
But I would be remiss if we didn't celebrate your birthday. First of all, happy
thank
birthday.
you. I appreciate
Happy
that.
birthday.
By
Thank you,
also
AP.
talking about the fact that on Saturday you became a proud season ticket holder to the Bananas baseball team
Oh my goodness,
because
the hottest ticket in town. Teb.
Can confirm.
Will and his bride and the Hall of Famer Craig Way, who just showed up. So Craig's grandson was playing on a different field.
Yeah.
Like out of nowhere, like I was walking up and I was like, "Oh, there's Will and there's Aaron. Is that Craig?" It
was awesome.
Sure enough, it was wild. Do you have a scouting report on the Bananas?
Fantastic walk-up music.
I'm jealous y'all got to see that. When we went, there was not Bananas walk-up music yet, so I was sad
Okay,
about that.
so
yeah.
it was an experience.
Yeah.
There's this kid, Hank Tepper. You got to watch out for him.
Number one.
Um,
Number one in your program.
and
yes.
in your
Number
hearts.
6 in your hearts.
number one in my heart. Swing is just Mike Trout-esque.
Yeah.
Lights
yeah.
out.
Yeah.
He
It
doesn't
really
miss.
is.
He
He's,
doesn't miss
he's
ever.
quick through the zone. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he did on Saturday. I'm glad you got to see this because there have been some times where he's hit the tee a couple times, but he had 2 swings and
Yeah.
two hits,
Rolling.
like
Boy.
which is that's
Rolling.
the pass fail.
It's adorable. Every time he gets a hit or does something, he and his dad give the thumbs up to each other.
thumbs
It's the cutest thing I've ever seen.
Now, so what are you doing for your birthday?
Going home to my cats.
Shout out.
No.
Probably
Shout out
watch
cats.
some murder mysteries. I'm big into serial killers, that type of stuff. No, I'm kidding.
This is a big 38th birthday on deck.
I really will be going home to my 2 cats, and then from there maybe dinner and I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, was this as terrifying as you thought it was going to be?
I do not like this.
Okay.
I ju-
He's William
what a
Wilkerson.
time to drag someone into their pit of darkness is on their birthday.
It's William. Look, like I don't know.
We've done it to everybody.
We've done it to
though,
everybody.
so-
Yeah, exactly. I just can't believe it took us 3.5 years to get you on TFT.
Man,
The streak is over.
the streak is over, and now let's make it another 3.5 years.
2 years. Let's set a date. You do not have to be on the show for 2 years, but you have to come on the show in 2 years.
That's her.
William Wilkerson.
Let's
be nice to him
go.
on Twitter.
The
Happy birthday, buddy.
boy.
Go Horns, hook 'em.
Hit the theme. Yes, y'all. From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a show on the internet. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, texasfootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live, texasfootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all of the places, or listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part. Support your local, mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. Wearing, and you know I don't like to compliment you, an awesome UTEP shirt.
Correct.
She's the Duchess of the Dork. She's
It
Miss
says-
915 today.
Oh, yeah. Los Mineros.
Los Mineros de UTEP. She's actually Pickle.
Funny quick story about that. Actually, this morning, I'm calling a softball game tomorrow
Mm-hmm.
between UNT and Oklahoma State, and this morning I had a Zoom call with the UNT head coach, and I looked down and
Oh,
I realized I was in
no.
my, and so I just like, as I was getting on to Zoom, I was like, oh, please don't let me in through the waiting room. I like was able to zip up my jacket just enough. I was like,
Good job.
sorry, coach.
Well done. Today is Tuesday, May 2nd, 2023, 205 days to Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to our own Will Wilkerson, who is turning, 38 today?
Yes, correct.
And we'll have him.
2 years
we'll
away
have
from
him back
over the
on in
middle.
2. We'll have him back on in 2 years. And also, happy birthday to I don't know. Oh, he shared. You know who he shares his birthday with? The Rock.
Oh, how cool is that?
The Rock is 51.
Holy cow.
Episode 1583. On today's show, folks, we got headlines from across state, including Texas once again dominates the NFL draft. And then back half the show, it's Math Tuesday,
Math Tuesday.
where we will be diving into how much returning starters matter. As we're putting together the 2023 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, it's on the tip of my tongue. And so I would like to dive into the numbers on Math Tuesday and discover how much returning starters actually mean for a Texas high school football team. We'll get into that coming up here at the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do, as I realize that I have the wrong graphic in the system. Hang on, let me get back to YouTube. And we're here. Tony Blaylock, Daniel Agnew, Nick Morton, and Andrew Christensen. Welcome in, fellas.
Welcome in, friends. We appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with us. We apologize for not having a show yesterday. We had a meeting that ran long. Plain and simple. And I'm not on Twitter, so I can't alert you guys.
And
so, like,
I was in the process of the meeting, so I didn't have time to tweet it out either.
right. So, anyway.
I think we mentioned that last week, though.
I think we did. I don't think I mentioned it on Friday.
Okay. I know we
so
mentioned
that's-
it on Wednesday
'cause it was-
before I left.
Yeah, because it was me and Mallory and Ish doing mailbag, and so it was just off the rails.
I listened to most of it. I like that Mallory talked about Gossip Girl.
Yeah, I don't. All right, Pickle. It's time for some headlines from across the state of Texas, and I think we would be remiss if we didn't start with what I think is the real headline everybody in America is talking about, the NFL draft. The NFL draft came, the NFL draft went. How much of the draft did you watch?
The first round.
First round?
That was it.
You didn't tune into the...
No. We watched the entire first round. We got in about pick 4, but watched the entire first round, didn't watch anything else.
So I have a question, and shout out to our friend Samuel DeLeon who sent this to me. Do you have a guess how many Texas high school football products got drafted? So there were 391 draft picks. How many played high school football in the state of Texas?
Okay. This is a straight up guess because I have not seen this number. Just high school football with no college football affiliation.
They played high school football. So like Bijan
'Cause that
Robinson
bumps up the number.
So Bijan Robinson does not count.
Right.
But you know what? This is also I think this is also counting UDFAs. So how many Texas high school
Undrafted.
football products?
Okay.
That's 391. That's how you get to 391.
Right.
How many played? So it does count. Like for example, Anthony Orji, who played at Vanderbilt but went to Rockwall.
Yeah.
So how many draftees
Didn't
and
Orji go to
UDFAs?
Saxe?
Yes, you're right. I'm sorry. He
Ha!
went to Saxe. Well done. Wait, did he?
Yeah, I thought the whole Orji family went to Saxe.
Maybe they did. I'm sorry. Which one? How many did they? How many draft picks and UDFAs? How many new NFLers are there from Texas?
55?
46.
Ah, okay.
46. More than
I bet 55 with college affiliation. More than 55 with college affiliation.
Oh, yeah, because I can name a couple who didn't play high school in Texas who played
Right.
here. There were 46 Texas high school football products who are now NFL players. Of course, you had playmakers from all over the state, quarterbacks like Clayton Tune, who got drafted. I was really happy to see him land where he did. Devon Achane is kind of that mix of both Texas high school and Texas college. As
Jackson Smith-Njigba went in the first round.
Jackson Smith-Njigba went in the first round. Tyree Wilson went in the first round from West Rusk. It was a big week for everybody. So congratulations to all the draftees and all the high schools who were able to produce these outstanding playmakers. Speaking of the college ranks, there has been some major transfer news in the college ranks and in the high school ranks. And I kind of want to do a little bit of a gallimaufry of different news items from the past week, if that's okay with you.
Excellent word.
Thank you. One of them, we're going to bounce around. We're going to do high school and college, okay? And this is just we're going to call this transfer news.
Transfer Tuesday.
It's Transfer Tuesday. One of them came in the high school ranks, and this we got confirmation of this from our own Greg Powers. But Vandegrift, Austin Vandegrift, is the, of course, reigning 6A Division II state runner-up from a year ago. Mm-hmm. And one of the questions we had was how they were going to fare without Braden Buchanan, because he was so good for them for so long. He's one of those players that felt like started for them for 7 years.
Correct.
Like, it feels like he had like 9 COVID years.
Yeah.
But Braden Buchanan is now off to the next level. They have an answer at quarterback now. Deuce Adams.
How about that?
The New Braunfels product, or New Braunfels Canyon product, rather, who was spectacular, a 3,000-yard passer as a junior last year, has transferred over to Vandegrift. I believe there's a dad coaching situation because his twin brother Eli Adams is also who has offers from places like Texas State and Fordham, is also transferring. I think there's a dad coaching situation here, but Deuce Adams is transferring from New Braunfels Canyon to Vandegrift, which is big news. In the high school ranks, or I'm sorry, in the college ranks rather, one of the real big headline news items here came out of the University of Houston. The Cougars, in a rather shocking development, are losing Alton McCaskill, their star running back, who of course missed all of 2022 with an ACL injury, was expected to be a huge part of their offense, and last week he announced he was entering the transfer portal. There are reports out there from Bruce Feldman that are saying that Colorado is very heavily involved in his portal recruitment.
What?
Colorado. Involved in the Alton McCaskill thing.
Oh, yes.
I'm not here to accuse anybody of anything.
Oh, yeah.
But Colorado has been hemorrhaging players, and then suddenly outstanding players from other Power 5 conferences are now going to start transfer. Like, I don't know.
There's a lot of questionable things happening up there right now.
I would like one of the issues we have with the transfer portal is that we just like there's a rule against tampering, but there's almost no enforcement mechanism. Now, I don't know what the situation is. I don't know what the situation is. I'm just speculating. But it seems the timing seems kind of weird, and the way that it was reported by Bruce Feldman of like in the same in the same breath, him saying he's entering the transfer portal and Colorado's the favorite. Mm-hmm. A lot going on there. Anyway, Alton McCaskill, that's a huge loss for Houston. Yeah. I got to be honest. When that happened, it came across our Slack. We're putting the 2023 Summer Edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and myself and Mike Craven and Carter Yates and Ishmael Johnson got together, and that like rethink. That's like a record-shifting type loss.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. Especially when
he's an all-American running back.
Yeah, and they were already losing some key players between Tune and all of that. They had a couple of transfers that went out. That one was like okay. Mm-hmm. What do you have at this point?
Right. Elsewhere, and by the way, the reason this is happening is that May 1st is the deadline to enter into the transfer portal. UTSA is also losing an all-conference player to the transfer portal. Zachary Franklin has entered the transfer portal as well, and this is a huge loss. It's rare. UTSA has actually not been hit by the transfer bug too much, but this is a huge one. Zachary Franklin was an all-conference USA first-team guy. He led the state of Texas with 94 catches for almost 1,200 yards and 15 touchdowns last year. He's like a record-setting receiver at UTSA, now entering the transfer portal. This is a huge loss for UTSA as well.
It is surprising that after they were able to keep Frank Harris, which was honestly more questionable, it felt like, of him staying than Zachary Franklin was. To keep him and then lose Zachary this late into spring ball is a bit eyebrow raising.
North Texas was not spared from the chaos there, and that is and they lost a pair of starters. Jair Shorter, their outstanding receiver, announced that he was entering the transfer portal, as did Larry Nixon III, a linebacker who was second on the team in tackles last year, announced that he is entering the transfer portal as well. Then there was also kind of shifting across the Metroplex, another guy who had already entered the transfer portal from North Texas, Cameron Robertson, who was an all freshman, all CUSA freshman defensive end, is transferring to SMU, moving from North Texas to SMU. So
Who will now be in the same conference. A reminder.
Absolutely. Things are starting to settle down now because the transfer portal window has closed, but there's still a lot of teams that are still in the transfer portal, which is or a lot of players. So there's still I don't want to say recruiting to be done, but fundamentally that is the case. There's still recruiting to be done. A couple of other high school notes I want to make sure I get to before I get to finish with one college note. On the high school ranks, the coaching carousel continues to spin, and one of them came down last Monday that was relatively surprising. And that's that Jerry Prieto has resigned his post at Crosby after 4 seasons. Of course, Jerry Prieto took over for Jeff Reardon there at Crosby and did a fantastic job guiding them to a state championship game in 2020 and has been consistently one of the best programs in the Houston area. He is stepping down after 4 seasons in what Matt Stepp describes on TexasFootball.com as a surprise move. So Crosby is now open. Hidalgo has found their new head coach, and I think it's a pretty good one. Sam Benito, co-offensive coordinator Steve Mariquin, is moving across the valley to go take over at at Hidalgo.
That's a great hire.
Monty Stumbaugh, of course, resigned after 6 seasons. They bring in Mariquin, who does have head coaching experience. He was PSJA's coach for 4 seasons. But he's been on Dan Gomez's staff at San Benito, kind of authoring one of the best offenses in the state of Texas, or rather in the Rio Grande Valley at least, the past couple of years. And so he's going to get an opportunity to be a head coach there at Hidalgo. Fort Worth Polytechnic has made a hire, and it's a pretty splashy name. C.J. Wilson, not the former Rangers left-hander, but, in fact, the former Dallas Cowboy. C.J. Wilson, former defensive back. He's a Terrell guy. He has spent the last 3 years in the private school ranks, going 19-12, and now he is going to become the next head coach at Fort Worth Polytechnic. This is a poly program that is in need of a jolt. They need a jolt. They have only had 5 playoff appearances in the school history. First one was back in 1954, so it's not like they're very new. But they did go 6-5 in 2000. They haven't posted a winning season since 2009. They're hoping that C.J. Wilson, the former defensive back from the Dallas Cowboys, is the answer there. And finally, I want to draw your attention to a piece on TexasFootball.com from our own Corey Hogue, our non-FBS insider, who writes a story trying to connect some dots about what's going on with Sam Houston, their decision to transition to FBS and join Conference USA, and will there be a ripple effect? That was a big deal, of course, when it happened that Sam Houston left early, left what is now known as the UAC, the United Athletic Conference, which was basically the ASUN and the WAC.
Yes,
correct.
And they combined.
Right. And so now the UAC is worried about losing some players, right? Tarleton, I know, is interested in moving to the FBS ranks. Stephen F. Austin is interested in moving to the FBS ranks as well. Would Abilene Christian consider a move? Things like that.
And that's just crazy because they literally, that was like maybe 2 weeks ago that they had announced that they were putting that together,
that conference together,
as like an actual singular unit rather than 2 that
kind
were
of
just combined.
kind of a nebulous, like, hey, we have a scheduling agreement so we can have a playoff spot. In any case, go read this piece. It's called the piece by our own Corey Hogue is called. I just had it here. Will other UAC teams follow Sam Houston's early exit to FBS? It's a good piece that'll kind of give you a feel for what's going on at the non-FBS level. And there are some headlines. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at TCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbells, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Hope you'll consider going to TexasFootball.com/subscribe to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber, especially with our All Access package. That gets you everything. Literally everything we have. I can't give you any more than this.
No.
You get every magazine, which includes the 2023 Summer Edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, the 2023 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Rising magazine, which is our recruiting edition, as well as Dave Campbell's Texas Basketball. You get all 3 of those mailed to you before it hits newsstands. I should really put a pin on that and tell you that is the real hook. If you want to get your magazine before it hits newsstands, if you want to get your magazine as early as possible, TexasFootball.com/subscribe. You also get a year's worth of exclusive online content at TexasFootball.com and Texan Live. That's right. We've lumped in Texan Live, our streaming service, with this, so you get live action all across the Lone Star State all year round. More than 1,300 live Texas high school games, including hundreds and hundreds of Texas high school football games. We got to count up the high school football games we did last year.
Yeah.
It's like
It's insane.
It's
well,
like,
and too, like I know a lot of people are real big into like baseball. It's baseball season
yeah.
right now. Like you can watch all the high school baseball playoffs that you want on Texan Live.
and plus that includes,
Basketball's huge.
to go back to the football side, there's also like more than 100 high school playoff games on TexanLive.com. You get all that, everything I listed, for $49.95 for an entire year. Not $49.95 a month. I'd pay $49.95 a month for it.
Correct.
You get $49.95 for the entire year. TexasFootball.com/subscribe. Makes a great gift as well. Mother's Day is coming up. Tell your mom you love her by getting a subscription to Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Now, a word from our friends.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texas loves doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
The 83rd KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship, the most historic and prestigious event in senior golf, kicks off an unprecedented run of major championships coming to PGA Frisco over the next 11 years. From May 24th to May 28th, join us as the best golfers over the age of 50 compete to have their name etched on the Alfred S. Bourne Trophy. Past senior PGA champions have included true legends of the game like Sarazen, Snead, Palmer, Nicklaus, Player, and Watson. A limited number of hospitality, pro-am, and ticket opportunities remain available for you to be a part of the first major championship at PGA Frisco. And keep in mind, corporate clients and ticket purchasers at this May's KitchenAid Senior PGA Championship will receive priority access to offerings at future major championships held at PGA Frisco, including the 2025 KPMG Women's PGA Championship and the 2027 PGA Championship. Visit srpga.com for more information. Oh, pickle. It's Tuesday, and on Tuesday, we celebrate Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday. Math Tuesday.
It's Math Tuesday here on Texas Football Today. You know what really sets that whole thing off?
What?
Is the people cheering for the house exploding
With American
with
flags.
American flags.
That's
That's what really does it. Is because honestly, I love it, and I also love our nation, and so it just kind of combines all the things that I like.
Yeah, nothing makes me laugh more when I just see the. Like, I can't imagine watching a house explode and just waving one of the little like Dollar Tree American flags back and forth.
I love it.
I'd be like, "Da!"
So it's Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
We're going to talk about high school football and specifically about returning experience. So if you flip open the 2020, well, yeah, you can't flip open the 2023. It doesn't exist. 2022 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. And you were to go read one of the high school previews. There's more than 1,500 high school football previews across the state of Texas. In that magazine, you will see kind of a familiar format to them, okay? Got the name and their mascot, got the head coach, got what their record was last year, got a number of the key players this year, got a nice write-up from one of our outstanding writers. And one of the things that it says is it'll say starters returning O/D, offense and defense. It's one of the things we ask coaches when we ask for the questionnaire. We ask for the questionnaire from coaches to turn in not only the great players you have, but also how many lettermen you have back, things like that, but specifically how many starters you have returning. Now, a small caveat here. There are coaches who define starters in different ways. That I don't... Okay, let me ask you a question, Pickle. The starting quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys is...
Dak Prescott.
Is Cooper Rush a returning starter?
No.
See, I would agree with you, but there are certainly some coaches who would say
he started 4 games. Yeah.
He started a quarter of their regular season, so shouldn't he count as a returning starter? So there is a little bit on the margins here that we can argue with, but generally speaking, it gives you a decent snapshot of the key contributors that are coming back for each high school football team.
Out of curiosity, what would be your definition? My personal definition, I think, of starting quarterback would be which quarterback that's returning started the most games. That's what I think I would do.
I think it would be who start. Yeah, I guess that's fair. Maybe we're saying the same thing. I think that the bar should be if you started more than half of the team's games.
Okay, yeah.
I think at that point,
which again would that's saying basically the same thing, I guess,
because
thing. Then I would be saying that if one started 7 and one started 6, then the guy that started 7 was the starter.
If a team goes 10-2 and the quarterback started 6 games, I think he's a returning starter.
Yes, I agree.
In my opinion.
That's fair.
But your mileage may vary. All that is to say, we ask every high school football coach in the state how many starters they have returning. And obviously, I don't think it's really any sort of secret that having starters returning feels like it should be a big deal, right? Because you have that experience. Experience matters. Especially, I think, at the high school ranks, it really matters. In the college ranks, you can have these breakout freshmen. The pro ranks, maybe you can have, there's so much turnover on the rosters that returning starters aren't necessarily a big thing. But the high school rank, one of the reasons we include it in the magazine is that we do think it matters. But does it? Does it matter? Because one of the things I want to look at this week on Math Tuesday is I want to take a look at the 12 UIL state champions from 2022, right? The Duncanvilles, the China Springs, the Gunners, the Westbrooks. And then I want to go back to what they told us before the season. And I want to say, hey, how many returning starters did you have? Because theoretically, all of these guys, if it matters as much as we think it does, then all of these guys should have a lot of returning starters.
Yeah.
Certainly there are outliers. But I want to see what kind of connection there is between the state champion, work backwards from state champion back to how much experience they have, because I think it can inform us going forward into 2023. So let's take a look at the 12 reigning UIL state champions across the state of Texas and see what they brought back going into the year. My overall takeaway here is that, and so basically if it was more 7 or more in the 6-man ranks, 4 or more, I put it in green, and if it was 4 or less, then I put it in red, right? Because I think if you have 3 returning starters from your defense, that's not a ton of starters.
No,
I think
we
would all agree. I think what the whole takeaway here is, you take a look at this graphic. Duncanville had 6 and 6 coming back. South Oak Cliff 8 and 9. That's a classic loaded team coming back, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 6-man ranks, I think those are perfect examples of where experience really matters.
Yes.
Westbrook brought back 5 starters on offense, 5 starters on defense from a defending state champ.
Yeah. I mean, that's their entire, Benjamin's is their entire offense and entire defense.
That also gets an asterisk, because that was 6 starters on offense, 6 starters on defense, and they added Grayson Rigdon,
which is the key to success.
That is so that's adding a guy who started at his previous spot. Same thing. There's also an asterisk that goes with China Spring, because China Spring, of course, replaced their quarterback from a year ago, Major Bowden, but they did so by bringing in a guy with a lot of starting experience in Cash McCollum. So that 5 number does not include Cash McCollum. We can certainly argue that it should.
Right.
That it should actually be 6 starters. I think the overall takeaway here, there are 3 teams, there are only 5 units of the 24 units that won a state championship last year. Only 5 of them brought back 4 or fewer starters of the 11-man ranks. DeSoto on both sides of the ball, only 3 stars on offense, 4 stars on defense. Aledo on both sides of the ball, 4 stars on offense, 4 stars on defense. And the Carthage defense, which only brought back 3 starters. Contrast that with, you would have 8 units that I think brought back a good amount of experience. South Oak Cliff on both sides of the ball, the Carthage offense, the Hawley defense, which brought back 8 starters, and then the entirety of the 2 six-man teams. The other teams, everyone else falls into that big middle where they bring back 5 starters or 6 starters or 7 starters from a year ago, right? Right in that big middle. So how much do returning starters matter in Texas high school football? I would say a fair amount, but it's not a death sentence if you don't have them. Because I think Aledo is a good example of that. We had big questions going into the year about Aledo. Let's not do revisionist history.
No, they lost their first 2 games, and we blew up.
Moving up a division, we didn't know if they had a quarterback,
No.
right? We had concerns about the offensive line.
And we
And they
still
started
had a
0-2.
little bit of concern about the offensive line heading into the state
Yes.
championship. That was just their weakest unit.
Oh, and they started 0-2.
Yep.
But obviously, pedigree, coaching, all of those things, and development won out there. Same thing with DeSoto. DeSoto only had 7 starters back. But Claude Mathis and his staff were able to turn that into a state champion.
Well, and they added Trey Wisner,
Yeah.
Cedric Harden.
Yes. They had, those are another kind of asterisk of guys who started at other places but were playing at this team. The real interesting one, I think, is Carthage because you get both of them. You have an offense that brings back a lot, 9 starters, and a defense that gets kind of decimated. And it was a flip. If you think about it, it was a flip from the year before because in Carthage in 2021, the offense was really kind of its undoing.
Yep.
The offense could not find any sort of consistency. The defense held its own and held them in it. 2022 looked entirely different with their offense doing the majority of the heavy lifting, especially early, and I think that showed within these numbers as well. The Hawley, and then the Hawley defense as well, which was fantastic, but Hawley, in hindsight, has all those hallmarks of a state champion. It's easy to say that now. So to pull it all together, how much does returning starters matter in Texas high school football? I think it matters a fair amount.
Yeah.
Because of the 24 units that won a state championship last year, 19 of them brought back at least an average amount of starters.
And
I think that's what you need to at least enter the season with legit state championship hopes. There are surprises, but I think that if you're looking for projecting forward, I do think that returning starters do matter.
And I think right at that 6-6,
Yeah.
7-5, 5-6. Like I feel like that's exactly actually where you want to be because I feel like that's a really healthy balance between maybe a starter that you did have isn't as good as the new
Yep.
sophomore that's moving up. So
Absolutely.
I feel like right there at that like 6-6 range, 7-6, that's exactly where you want to be because you've got your core group of likely seniors, upperclassmen really taking the reins and showing the younger kids, but you might just have more talent in the younger kids or a move-in or whoever. But that's, yeah, the middle ground is where you want to be.
And next week on Math Tuesday, and here's a lateral tease, I'm going to tell you which teams bring back the most starters for 2023 on Math Tuesday.
Math Tuesday.
Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
Coach Terry Crawford bringing in the real questions here, and this I'm interested to hear your answer. So my running back got hurt. Backup ran for 1,000 yards in the playoffs. Is he a returning starter?
Yes. Again, that's why I don't fault coaches who have different definitions than I do because they have different impacts and they are understanding their unit as much. That running back, that team, Abbott was much more than just one player, but just go with me here. That team probably doesn't make it to a state championship game without him.
Exactly.
Right? And so I think you're well within your rights to name him a starter. To say he is a returning starter, he's got that. What I would push back on, okay, I'll give you an example. What I would push back on are guys who started 1 game, 2 games, and then when the other guy was ready, he got usurped. Do you know what I mean? I started 1 game in my high school football varsity career. I did. For the Coppell Cowboys, I started against the Fort Worth Paschal Panthers, who were, love you guys, god-awful.
Oh, yeah.
They were not good. And the guy who played in front of me, who signed with Oklahoma, real thing, he had like a nagging injury.
Yeah.
It was like he could have played, but I think they were like,
You know what?
Let's give Tepper a
let's
chance.
give old Tep a chance.
and so I did. Now that was my senior year. But if that was my junior year, I don't think I should be a returning starter.
No, absolutely
Right?
not.
There does have to be a line, but I do think it is more art than science. And I appreciate what Coach is saying, that if you have that majority impact as a starter, I'm okay with calling him a returning starter.
Well, and that's like, and this is a little bit of a different example, but when he said that, the first thing my mind went to, just from like a statewide notability perspective, was when Marquise Collins did that in 2021. He technically had started games before for College Station, but he did not have a legitimate like starter impact on the season until they got to playoffs.
Yeah.
And then he went off for close to 1,000 yards just in the playoffs alone.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, clearly he's going to be the thing that your team is built around moving into next year. So I would consider that a returning starter, even though I think he started a lot more games than that, but he didn't really have as much of an impact.
And further, okay, here's another example. I think that, now I don't know what their formation was, and maybe he was on the field for the first play, because we certainly probably give too much weight to being out there for the first play. But like, was Jaden Jackson a starter at Franklin?
No, because Bryson Washington,
Right?
yeah.
And yet, state title game MVP. I'm not looking at what Mark Vandenturn did.
Right.
He would be within his rights to say either way, I think, with a
Yeah.
guy like that.
Yep.
With a guy like Jaden Jackson.
Yep.
So
Well, and that's
it is more art than science, and that's
Yeah.
why for me, I just trust that coaches aren't gassing me up.
No.
Because they don't really have a regional eye.
I was just going to say, if anyone turned in a thing that said, oh, yeah, we've got all 11 back because you
This-
could go pinpoint where the center started one game, then it would be really recognizable to go,
So this is my 13th summer magazine. I'm old.
correct. Not as old as Willie.
I do remember, man, what a just catching shrapnel. I do remember at one point, and this is a vague memory, so I can't put something on it. But a coach turning in that he had 15 starters coming back on offense. I remember that, or like 13, like more than 11. Because there are teams that bring back more than bring back 11 starters.
Right.
There will be a couple. Frisco Emerson. We'll talk about them next Tuesday. Because they bring back every one of their starters because they're a new program. Seniors.
Yeah.
They brought back every letterman. But he turned in like 13 starters for offense, and I remember I called him, and I said, I'm not playing coy. I don't know who it was. And I called him like, Coach, you listed 13 starters. Is that a mistake? He's like, no, we had 13 guys who started a game last year who are back. And I said, I think what we ended up doing was putting 11 and saying, I can't put 13.
No.
Like that, I will get more phone calls, or people will assume that we just had a typo in the magazine. I remember that. But most coaches are like, they have a feel, and it's like, it really is more of a feel. It's like,
Well, there's also a part of me that I would say that since I think a lot of coaches understand that this is like a preview magazine,
Yes.
that they think about it in the way of going, okay, I know who my starting running back's going to be.
yes.
He started
Would
a
I have
handful
called
of
him a
games.
starter last year?
Yeah, exactly.
From last year.
Yeah. I think that there's just enough. You know what you did. You
Yeah.
called the plays. Like,
Yeah.
it's
I think that's right.
more easy to figure
I
out.
think that's right. Anyway, thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks to William Wilkerson for being our
Willie.
guest, our birthday boy. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please give me your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.